Welcome back to Panatel's. This is a place where dark history slowly comes to light, and forgotten stories are finally heard at last. December 6th, 1917. The morning over Halifax Harbor in Nova Scotia arrives cold and indifferent. Winter presses down on the city like a held breath. Ice rims the water. Smoke curls from chimneys in thin, obedient lines. The Great War is an ocean away, but its presence has followed the ships home. The harbor is already awake. Dock workers move through their routines. You can almost hear the sound of boots on frozen planks, see the steam rising from their laboring bodies. No one pays much attention to the French cargo ship easing into the Narrows, the channel leading to the inner harbor. Her name is the Mont Blanc. She flies a neutral flag. Her decks are silent. But below them, she carries an unspoken, unimaginable weight. Picric acid, TNT, benzol. She is a floating arsenal disguised as commerce, a bomb waiting for a fuse. From the opposite end of the channel comes the IMO, a Norwegian vessel, running late, restless to get out to the open sea. The channel is narrow here, with clear rules of the road written for moments just like this. Rules that assume caution and patience. Whistles cut through the cold air. Short blasts from one ship, sharp replies from the other. It's a conversation made of misunderstanding, a deadly disagreement played out in steam and sound. Neither ship yields. The pass is too close. Steel scrapes steel. The collision itself is almost gentle. A bruise, not a catastrophic blow. Something that should have been survivable. But then the barrels split. Benzol, a highly flammable fuel, spills across the Mont Blanc's deck, clear and quick. Its vapor crawls low, searching for just one thing. It finds a spark, and fire takes the ship. The crew of the Mont Blanc knows exactly what's happening. They know what's below their feet. They abandon her without a second thought, rowing frantically for the shore. No warning is shouted to the city. There is no time for explanations, only for escape. The Mont Blanc is now a ghost ship, drifting, burning, unmoored. A quiet, horrifying threat sliding directly toward the heart of Halifax. Onshore, people begin to gather. A ship on fire in the harbor is a spectacle. It draws attention. Children press their faces to cold window panes. Men pause mid-task, looking out over the water. Curiosity feels harmless in the daylight. No citywide alarm sounds. No one understands the true nature of the danger. One man does. Vincent Coleman, a railway dispatcher at the Richmond station, sees the burning ship drifting towards the pier. He knows she's carrying munitions. He could have run. He could have saved himself. Instead, he stays at his telegraph key, tapping out a final, desperate message to an incoming train full of passengers. Hold up the train. Ammunition ship afire in harbor, making for Pier 6 and will explode. Guess this will be my last message. Goodbye, boys. He stays at his post, trying to save others until the very end. The ship reaches Pier 6. For a single surreal fraction of a second, the entire harbor is still. Then the world fractures. Light erupts, brighter than the sun. The air itself becomes a weapon. The pressure wave, moving faster than the speed of sound, strikes the city flat. Buildings don't just collapse, they disintegrate. Stone and brick turn to projectiles. Glass from countless windows becomes a storm of sides, slicing through the air. People are lifted, thrown, erased in the middle of a motion. The harbor itself rears up in a massive tsunami, then crashes back down onto the land, housing large ships ashore like discarded toys. In an instant, nearly 2,000 lives vanish. Thousands more are rewritten in a landscape of pain and confusion. Then there is silence. A silence so deep and profound it feels deliberate, as if the world is holding its breath in shock. The screaming follows. Those who can still see search for those who cannot. Countless people are blinded by the flying glass. Hands are slick with blood and disbelief. The entire north end of Halifax is gone. It's been reduced to smoke, splinters, and a gaping hole in the city's memory. Fires begin to spread through the broken streets, consuming what the blast had not. As if nature itself wanted to add another layer of tragedy, snow begins to fall. A soft, white blanket gently settling over bodies and embers alike. Winter trying to hide what has just happened. The city's infrastructure is crippled. Hospitals overflow within minutes. Churches and public buildings are turned into makeshift infirmaries. Doctors and nurses work without rest, performing endless surgeries, trying to save who they can, without mercy from the encroaching night. Help would come from Boston and other parts of Canada. But for those first few hours, Halifax was on its own. The questions arrived later, of course. Who was at fault? Which signal was misunderstood? Who should carry the weight of the blame? Courts would convene. Official reports would be written and filed away, providing answers that felt neat, but entirely insufficient for a tragedy of this scale. But the city and the harbor remember. They say that on certain mornings, when the fog settles low and quiet over the water, you can almost feel it again. The silent drift of the burning ship, the fire, the final, terrible moment before sound existed. Because disaster does not always announce itself with thunder and fury. Sometimes it arrives politely, under a neutral flag, at the slow speed of routine. And on that cold December morning in 1917, Halifax learned how quickly a thriving city can be turned into a witness left standing, staring at the empty space where its certainty used to be. The Halifax Explosion remains the largest man-made explosion in history until the atomic age, a stark reminder of the hidden dangers that can lie just beneath the surface of an ordinary day. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as powerful as I did, please like this video and subscribe for more chapters from history. See you next time.